respectively. FBI got third on the Korean solo queue ladder over the summer break. This is a very touted team in the OPL.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the first champion select of MSI 2019. Phong Vũ Buffalo on the blue side, the Bombers. OPL representatives on the red. Rek'Sai, a ban, as well as the Akali. Not surprised to see a little bit of jungle attention already thrown down in that ban phase.
Yeah, Volkan's thing is double scuttling people, so I think they'll want to take away even maybe the Jarvan. They're kind of the two early game aggressive junglers. In saying that, Meliodas, a very aggressive jungler in his own right, a little bit more gank heavy than what Volkan's going to be, but this is kind of my key matchup to watch in the early game. Very excited to see Meliodas go up against Volkan.
And of course, defining a lot of those matchups as well. Aurelia, I'm not surprised to see that banned away. It's both a very powerful pick and especially a powerful pick in the hand of Zeros. And really have to see how the meta is going to develop over the course of this tournament. Of course, a brand new patch for competitive 9-8 coming out. Sona, interestingly, going to be taken off. We wanted to know, will Sona Taric still be around? We've seen some counter to play across it, across regions, but now Sona taken off the board says, just don't even gut check it, just take it away.
And a little bit of volatility removed from the Bombers, you have to say. This is one of the quicker teams within the OPL, but getting rid of a couple of assassins that can be flexed, as well as a Sona. Obviously want a very standard game of League of Legends to come out. First pick Galio doesn't surprise me at all, is one of Pallet's big champions. Pallet and Rogue play a similar role. They are responsible for having a little bit more of the engaged due to the fact that both of these teams do have carry top laners. So picking up Galio, one of the best engaging supports, able to help out the side lane, makes a lot of sense.
I want to see if they fight fire with fire, going for a lane dominant 80 carry in the Varus, something that Big Koro was incredibly successful on, and no surprise to see FBI pick up something that can take over the laning phase if set up to do so.
Yeah, I'm expecting a second or third pick Tom Kench to come out here. Wouldn't surprise me to see them just take both angles of it right now, given the fact that Bomber's bottom lane does play more of that utility style for the team.
Interesting now, though, the Hecarim as well, potentially a flex pick, although Ghost already being picked up makes me think that it will most likely go into the hands of Balkan, but Bombers already using that red side to good effect, the luxury of swapping that over last minute.
And not a major presence coming out throughout the OPL finals for the Hecarim. Certainly is a pick that we've seen junglers like Oddie actually in their regional finals do incredibly well at. But in saying that, doesn't really fit the early game style that I've been describing for Volkan. At the same time, however, Meliodas grabbing the Jarvan does really go towards his wheelhouse. So I think that this is more of the same that we've seen domestically for PvP that's made them so strong, and maybe a little bit of a mix-up out of the top side of the map for the Bombers.
And I think showing a lot of things that we have already seen, never a bad strategy, wanting to just show and what they've already been powerful on, bust out some picks here. But getting the Jace, of course, something we're not used to seeing. It's a champion that's banned so much, especially in the VCS. But now it can go into the hands of either Null or Zeros. But with a hyper carry top laner like that, I'm kind of expecting Zeros to split it 3 times this season already. And
especially given the fact that you've already got Jarvan, who is an AD jungler, you probably do want a mage to be picked up in the mid lane. Pretty important to note the fact that they haven't had any priority on Ryze yet. And I was talking to a lot of the analysts before this, and they were saying that they expect Ryze to have an incredibly high presence throughout the entirety of MSI. Does just seem to be one of those very strong, safe picks that you can take early in the draft, especially on blue side, but completely gone away from that. A lot more aggression, early game focus out of PvP.
Now, Bombers are going to be the ones to ban the Ryze away. Of course, enough flex picks on the enemy team already. Don't want to give them any more. And interesting to see what they're going to prioritize next, because with a Poppy locked in, Spawn, not something that I really expected to see. I thought Mimic would fight fire with fire on the top side of the map.
He is historically a Trinity Force Poppy player. I say that given the fact that he does snowball a lot domestically. You don't get through the OPL with only 2 losses for the entire season and not have some snowball performances. But this is Mimic's tank of choice, has played it for the last 2 years to a pretty high level. And I do think that if you're able to weather the early game, does put up a very good front line right now for Ryoma and FBI to play behind.
Now, though, with the Thresh locked in as well, it feels like really strong, solid bottom lane for the side of the Bombers. Have to see what the final pick is going to be, though. Saving that last pick for Ryoma, trying to set him up for success in the mid lane matchup versus Null. And PvP going to have to show their hand on some of these flex picks. I suspect it will be the Jace top lane and the Jarvan in the jungle, but have to give them room for the mix-up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll say things like Ezreal, Lucian, currently up and available, would be very much so in Big Koro's wheelhouse. See whether he wants to take the skill check matchup or whether he just goes for some of his own utility in something like an Ashe lane. But the fact that they've left Zoe till this late in the draft has been knocked down a couple of times, but it's just such a consistent, safe pick. Adds things to every stage of the game, kind of does help out this spear or poke comp that is being formulated right now from the Phong Vũ lineup. I really like what Phong Vu's brought together here. They've got so much long-range damage, but on top of that, do have some dive and teamfight potential. I think they really are strong at multiple stages of the game as well. Terrific job here, to be honest, in the draft.
And the answer is going to be Syndra in the mid lane, maybe hoping to find a little bit of an advantage there. A lot of burst in Syndra's kit, but definitely the poke, the pick potential with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble for setup. Feels like Phong Vũ Buffalo are going to make it very difficult for Bombers to sit comfortably through this laning phase with the sheer amount of engage potential.
But in saying that, you do have to credit Bombers for staying on game plan. They've got a bottom lane that should win. They've got Varus, Thresh, two of the biggest lane bullies being paired together, as well as the fact that you're going to be able to unlock Rogue from that lane and get into Ryoma's lane. A lot of aggression being shown here from the Bombers, and they have said they want to come out, play their style, kind of be inspired from what IG was able to do last year and really take the fight to some of these opponents. And I think that this is a lineup that, if they get a lead, just has very, very good skirmish roam and team fight potential.
I mean, we've seen what happens when you can start to snowball a Hecarim. If Hecarim is able to get ahead of that Jarvan, we know how explosive that champion can be, and it feels like we're poised already for just an incredibly volatile game one. Now, Phong Vũ Buffalo, for many people, no doubt the expected first place in the team, and a lot of people already counting the Bombers out. But this first game is going to set the pace for this group. Will Vietnam be that dominant, or does OPL have a lot more to show us than they have in previous years?
Yeah, and there's a reason that people are hyping up Phong Vũ, right? This is a team that went through regular season pretty much in first place the whole time. They dropped one game to GAM in week 6 of the regular season. They then come out, they smash Evos in that final 3-1 scoreline. There was some moments where it was getting a bit down and dirty, a little bit rushed, but they ultimately came out the victor in so many of those close situations. It kind of did put it beyond doubt that this is the representative that should be here for the VCS. At the same time, the OPL Bombers had to sit there and wait the whole of Gauntlet unfold. They got order, they tore them apart. This is a team that is ready for an international performance.
Definitely the case, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen, game one. Now immediately, Spawn, I want to cast our eyes to the jungle matchup. Now, we see something a little bit more scaling focused. Hecarim can have that early game impact. Most importantly, the Jarvan, something we have to keep our eyes on because Meliodas has been so successful, but I like this from the Bomber, Spawn, already opening with an aggressive level 1.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is something that I would say Oceania has done a lot better job of recently. The stack is coming in and saying that no one showing mid lane, no one showing on Pixel Brush should mean that Big Koro is aware at least the fact that this could be a possibility. They go in.
Moving forward, for the flash over the wall, immediately getting that one out.
Did he not skill E?
Just wanted to burn it, I guess. Didn't want to risk anything there. But that it has to feel like a little bit of a fumble when you could response skill E. He saw them coming, but of course doesn't give anything greater up. However, Bombers aren't going to lose any summoners of their own, so overall just a very positive trade for Bombers early on. Ezreal, normally a very safe laner, but potentially a little bit more vulnerable here if they want to play around the Varus and the Thresh.
And now this gets really dangerous. Check out the top side of the map. You can see that they're trying to check if the members of Phong Vũ Buffalo are up there.
Ooh, Balkan.
Is this going to be a fight?
The Jace level 1, quite strong. If it's backed up by a Jarvan flag, Taxi Steroid can make miles difference in the early game. Testing this one though, Balkan just going to settle for the Raptors instead. Poppy moving forward. It looks like they are just going to give up the camp in exchange, but clearly both teams aware of how important the early jungle can be. Meliodas though, off to a much more positive start with this red buff.
Look, and I don't hate that response out of the Bombers as well, because they do come out with the camp and they don't lose anything. Once again, removing that volatility. In saying that, mid lane,
extending immediately level 2 gank, Ryoma put on the back foot once again. So PvB responding, getting some summoner spells of their own in the early game after the level 1 from Bombers. And I think not surprising to see jungle already influencing the match so much, but top lane, Mimic, getting aggressive here on the Jace level 1, the flash out. Zeros tries to get the predict, but just barely not able to hit. You talked about a skill check, Spawn. Whenever we talk about these regions, international competition, we have to see if there's just a mechanical edge for either side. And it looks like both these teams very ready to play for the skill check.
And that's what I'm really appreciating right now. You can see the Bombers, they do try and go toe-to-toe. However, in saying that, just time and time again, Phong Vũ getting small edges. Now Ryoma in trouble.
Send it back. Beautiful scat of the week, though. Still has to eat the Paddle Star. But Meliodas already putting down so much pressure. Of course, the stats on your screen, tournament-wide, these junglers ranked against each other, but you know, we have high expectations for both of them.
And what this shows is that Meliodas is going to get into lanes early, right? We've already seen a couple of times mid lane, whereas Balkan does play for his own path. Look at the CS differential at 15, goal differential at 15 minutes. Plays very heavily to be able to clear camps, get to that level 6 early, and be more of a skirmishing threat. Now, River has been taken away by the Buffaloes. This is really crucial because that early flash from Ezreal going to start meaning less and less now. as, you know, no Ghost on Volkan, not going to be able to impact this lane. So you'd have to say, early game, good success. The pressure that they've put down on mid lane, also pretty crucial, and Mimic's starting to struggle up top. Already had to burn the TP.
Yeah, it was in a difficult position. Didn't expect him to win out early, went for very aggressive early trades, I think, to try to turn the tides of that matchup, but now has to just kind of play the matchup as a ranged champion against Jace. It can just be incredibly difficult to get anything set up on the top side. And now we see the Hecarim pinging out, most likely just headed to Krugs. Could try to get some pressure down there, but Meliodas set up for a bot side gank. There's no vision here. We'll use the sweeper. Rogue and FBI have to be careful.
Should be aware of the timing, however. You can see. Oh,
goes in. They're going to take the bait on the fight. They want to keep it going. That's going to be the double taunt flash forward, trying to extend the play. FBI steps forward. Now we're going to try to get out with Rogue. The shield just barely keeping him alive, but he's doomed to die here. Meliodas, one more fat auto on the cadence plus the red buff. There's going to be first blood. Wants to get it back, though. FBI getting turned on. The CC layering is perfect. The double dropping for Phong Vũ.
And unfortunately for the Bombers there, they try to go for the outplay, but the skill check time and time again coming up in the VCS representative's favor. You see there, they try and aggress onto Big Koro, but he turns around, escapes with a slither of health, well played, teleports back in to even impact the latter stage of that fight. But it's just such an aggressive call from the Bombers, and I think nearly unnecessarily so. The hook lands, they get some good chunks, but if you're FBI here, you can be instantly hitting onto Meliodas. I don't think you can go for really that trade, and the jungler from Phong Vũ plays it perfectly, waits for his cooldown. And Galio just does so much damage early game. You kind of overlook it, but as those punches start coming out from Galio, really does start putting in some pain.
Just very difficult to find any kind of aggressive setup. Mimic now trying to extend the play, knowing that the jungler is on the way. Melody is just going to step forward. That's a huge damage coming in. Denies the flag and drag, but still challenging Smite going down. Mimic running for his life.
He's gone.
Meliodas just walking down another one. This man is dominating the map in the early game.
And I said it's about him getting on the map and impacting lanes. Well, he's currently 3-0-0. And Volkan hasn't even been able to get a farm lead. Now he looks for his gank.
Volkan now trying to step back. It's going to be tough to hit the Galio. Interrupts there. Play going to be back, but he's going to the triple taunt. Big Koro throwing out a lot of damage. Volkan may just give his life in the exchange. Now has to step back. Koro still hitting the front line. Pallet is going to drop. Will need to back off. But a very close exchange in the end.
And you can see that Volkan even nearly falls down in this gank. Has to try and get something cross-map for his team to stay in this game. And the bottom lane really does look like the only area of hope right now for Bombers. They're up 15 CS. Big Wave is about to crash into Big Koro, but they seem to be dictating the pace on this lane. Whereas the other two areas, I mean, look at this gank and just how easy it is. Mimic does tank up a turret shot, but Meliodas, as you mentioned, with so much damage already at this stage of the game, really just walks him down from here.
This is the second time this game that we have seen it come down to 40, 50 health.
Yep.
We saw it in previous play with Big Koro, now we've seen it in the top lane with Mimic, where if they just had a tiny bit more damage, it would have been kills, but PvP playing on the edge, and it's paying off.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, what this shows is that if the game is going to be played at the highly accelerated pace, that PvP has more experience against better teams at going toe-to-toe. I mean, if you watch their regional final against EVOS, there was multiple times during those games where people were just willing to take 1v1, 2v2s and come out ahead. Stark versus Zeros, especially in the Aatrox versus Sylas matchup, was just an absolute joy to watch. And I think that they're showing their individual skill right now, and unfortunately, Bombers just not able to keep up at this stage of the game.
Going to be difficult. Of course, VAR's getting closer and closer to that one item. You mentioned the gold lead there already. They drafted their bot lane for success with that early pick. Good that it's paying off at least partially, and Mimic, you know, despite expectations, is still doing quite well in the Jace matchup. Small CS discrepancy, all things considered, and continuing to trade aggressive. I respect it. I think at this point, just committing, knowing that he wants to find a greater advantage here, because if the team just keeps hemorrhaging, it'll be difficult.
And his jungler is now level 6 and does have the ability to go for a dive, so I like the timing of aggression here from Bombers as well. Zeros potentially going to have to give up a wave.
He does step forward to extend it. Will this be one of those situations where he just tries to outplay match mechanical skill? It feels like there's just too much CC to make it happen. Volkan now stepping forward, can look for the knockback. They're trying to buy their time. The flash out first. Zeros extending this one. That ultimate is going to come in. Free kill picked up from the Bombers, burning a lot of ultimates there, but now we may see the response from Meliodas. Moving up, he's going to see the ward. They know he's coming. course, have the ability to deny the entrance there with Poppy. Will not be able to stop the ultimate. Null moving forward. Are they going to go for it? Stepping in, locking one up. Mimic going to be able to step out. Meliodas needs to back off. Knocks to his own wall there. Good amount of damage coming in from Null. They're going to try to take out Balcon. They're going to look for two. Meliodas alive and well. There goes the Ezreal. Mimic has to backstep, and that's going to be all she wrote. It's going to be a slow death coming through in the end, but Mimic now doomed to fall as Null will grab the kill.
And once again, you know, the idea for the Bombers there is absolutely correct, but just the pacing of the game. Very fast rotation coming out from the Buffalo's jungler in mid lane. I mean, this is a perfect idea. You've stacked a wave. Zeros has flash, but you know that you can follow up with all your summoner spells and ultimate. I like the idea, but you have to realize how far past the turret you've gone at this stage if you are the Bombers. And Meliodas just everywhere on Summoner's Rift that he needs to be right now. Once again, just showing that he is such a great jungler. And I mean, once you cut off on that side of the map, there's nothing you can do if you're mimicking Balcon.
In a lot of these games, we see Meliodas be the guy to set his lanes up for success, but now it just feels like he's counter-ganking everywhere, he's ganking everywhere, and he's the guy that's benefiting. 4-0-1 on this Jarvan Ryoma, though. Maybe in a bit of trouble here. Hasn't spotted out the Jace yet. A powered Shock Blast could be massive damage. Only a phage, though. Not going for the early lethality against the Poppy, so it won't be quite as lethal.
I mean, makes a lot of sense. He has gone Conqueror as well, so this is going to be more of the range stance W trades that you see coming out, trying to chip away at that Poppy health bar, who's already gone Tabby. So I think the build is completely correct from Zeros here. Without flash, see whether he can pressure out the turret, or whether that's why he's looking for rotations into that mid lane, because not all that confident of stepping up without knowing where Balcon is.
And one interesting shift that you're seeing both junglers kind of adapt to. Won't be any warrior enchantments in this game. You're seeing Cinderhulk, of course. 9-7 was supposed to have it, but 9-8 is a patch that actually came through. 300% bonus magic damage to minions and monsters for both the Jarvan and the Hecarim. So a lot of high clear speed, very tanky champions early on with this improved Cinderhulk. Have to hold that thought, though, as good stun comes in from Ryoma to stop that play from going through any further, and the minion line will block the follow-up Paddlestar.
And after a pretty disastrous early game for Ryoma, where he was back-to-back ganks, it does look like he is slowly building his way back into this. Of course, it's going to be Null that maintains his couple of minion waves worth of CS advantage. Bubble misses.
Ryoma playing on the edge here. So nerve-wracking when you know the Zoe has the jungle pressure advantage, because stuff like that is just going to happen. Meliodas going in, mid lane's here as well. Ryoma all but set to fall. He's going to get the Thundering Blow. Backs right out, but Zeros will get done out. Not going to have enough time. Balcon goes to the bottom side. That's going to be one kill picked up. Ezreal taken off the map, and Bombers respond with a kill of their own, as Syndra is also able to get the 1-for-1 in mid lane. Meliodas, though, coming down to the bottom side. The back coming through for Balcon. The Thresh is going to need to have a perfect lantern to stop this from coming in. Meliodas will now be spotted on the ward. FBI slowly backing off. They're feeling a little bit more confident. Galio ulti is available, though. If they get caught up here, it will be disastrous. Of course, Zoe on the way down. It's a slow set of plays. Now a beautiful hook with a double taunt coming through. FBI trying to sidestep, but it's not going to be enough. Flashes out. There's the lantern. They're going to be able to walk away. Ezreal ulti ticking, and the burn from Pallet, the follow-up. It is so incredible to watch PvB just dismantling in that play.
And it looked so good. Traded 1-for-1 mid lane. They pick up the kill bottom lane. But you see how active Null and Meliodas are on the map right now, Dracos. They're just able to time and time again impact these side lanes and build a 3,000 gold lead for the Buffaloes.
Just constantly using this lane pressure to make plays elsewhere. Spawn, it's absolute dominance. A 3K lead at 11 minutes. Expected favorites, but this already, just such a huge showing, is another very aggressive dive. Admittedly a 1-for-1 in the end, but
this is a 4. I mean, you would expect Zeros on... Oh, time again.
Ryoma going to get knocked back here. A lot of damage going in. It's going to be sleepy, but trying to stop Balcon, though, just in the middle of no man's land. We'll try to walk away from this one. Just the edge of the knockup is going to hit him. You'll get to talk soon, Spawn, I swear. They're going to stop.
That's a disappointing re-engage from Balcon there. He's diving in 1v3. There's no way he's going to be able to pick up a kill. He uses the Ghost as well as the ultimate. Maybe some frustration coming through for the Bombers jungle, who was able to dominate the OPL. But you have to say right now, 9 kill participations at 12 minutes for Meliodas. That is such a monstrous performance. Balcon's in trouble.
No chance for him to go into his own jungle. He just doesn't have pressure anywhere on the map. They're even willing to sacrifice that farm on the top side for Zeros just to contest the jungle here, just to make sure that Balcon cannot play the game. Big Horo, though, man is constantly getting singled out. The ult is going to connect. FBI will grab another kill. FBI remains, though, at this point, the bastion of hope for this OPL lineup, because everywhere else, Meliodas is just finding kill after kill after kill.
Null coming downriver. Meliodas already here. Every time it looks like they're going to generate some form of pressure. The fact that Ryoma has just been pushed in time and time again by Null means that they can't capitalize and really exploit that advantage to the level that the Bombers would like.
And Spawn, this is... All right, let's talk. Win conditions, I think we need to take a step back and reevaluate. We've talked about how incredible this poke comp is from PBB, how strong it can be if it gets a lead. It has a lead. It is terrifying. But if you're playing on the side of the Bombers, what is your out? How do you actually come back into this game?
You're looking for front to back, right? You got Poppy, who is slowly starting to scale up, is becoming a little bit tankier at this stage of the game. You've got yourself, oh, that's a lot of damage.
That's gonna be a lot of damage. We're gonna hold that thought. Walk forward, get the empowered shock blast, is gonna walk red buff. Ticking down now, Ryoma is going to live in the end, and a game of inches right there. Rogue, unsung hero, it feels like this game. A couple of those lanterns have been absolutely clutch.
Yeah, and finally, Bombers have access to a river. I feel like the first time in this game, right? Rogue was able to just walk up, get a free rotation up towards that mid lane, and be able to save Ryoma.
Every play feels like it's a counterplay. Something happened in top lane. Now we have mana for the Jace, but it doesn't matter. The Conqueror's still getting a lot of damage. Now flashing away. Mimic, though, well played in the exchange. Flash for flash trade there in the end as Seros commits his.
But I think finally that does start to favor Seros, because now he's going to have access to be able to start pushing in, you know, with the boots too. Looks like it potentially is going to be Trinity Force picked up for Mimic as well. Don't know whether this game is going well enough for that to be warranted.
Stick to your guns. Seros, of course, no mana, so Mimic very comfortable to step forward and trade even into that red buff.
But this is great. The fact that they held Meliodas top lane, even for a couple of moments, means the bottom lane turret is starting to fall down very low.
We're at the point right now where it's enough of a threat from the Galio. FBI actually starting to struggle in these poke battles, just taking a lot of incidental damage from Big Koro. But of course, massive item difference with the Blade of the Rune King there. We'll just start to sustain up. I just feel like this lane needs to get a little bit of a larger advantage if they want to be that really strong point for the team. Try to take this first tower and maybe open up the map.
That's what I was going to say. They need to open up the map. That's the avenue to be able to kind of salvage some of this, because if the map is opened up in the flip side, you know, if for whatever reason Zeros is able to break it, they can just park Big Koro with Pallet mid lane. This is going to become such a devastating 1-3-1. Null can just join the poke battles, catch side lanes nice and deep, and then Zeros and Meliodas, who right now are very fed, can kind of play around each other's pressure.
Oh, the cleanse not going to save his life. Slowed down, so he going to step forward. Not quite enough damage. Corrupting Potion has saved so many lives this game. We're going to walk over and grab a blue buff, but definitely going to have to recall after that one. Meliodas going to grab the Rift Shield, uncontested.
But now the chunk means so much more, right? Because we said if they can open up the map, if this game starts to snowball further into Phong Vu's favor, I don't know how this composition shakes them out of that without having to go like super just ARAM down mid. And unfortunately, that's exactly what's happened, and they've given even more of the advantage through the jungler.
All stepping forward, Balkan almost one shot to Zoe damage. 303 is just absolutely disgusting. And if Null keeps hitting these sleepy trouble bubbles, it feels like Bombers members are just going to keep dying. Rift Herald breaks mid, opens up the map. Jake, 6K gold lead, 16 minutes into the game.
And gold right now isn't even the most important thing that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the ward line, right? When you see top lane with a pink ward on the back of red and a pink ward in pixel that just has not been, you know, able to be moved for so much of this game. It was actually moved by the Phong Vu lineup then. Then you see how far Null can play up with Abandon. It doesn't even matter if your bottom lane right now is a little bit of a pressure sink, because every time you get any form of priority or any proactivity on the map, if you are the Buffaloes, you can just walk down bottom river and they must back away. That means that the Bombers right now, you know, have to potentially look for something creative to be able to pull themselves out of the situation, because I don't think raw aggression onto an Ezreal lane who already has his Iceborne Gauntlet is going to be the answer out of this game.
And it's difficult because you talk about creativity, but we're seeing Bombers, despite mid lane tower already being broken down, just return to what is a very standard laning phase. Poppy is going top, your bot lane is going bottom. So not seeing any crazy map plays, and it's difficult because you talk about the vision and it feels like you're playing against poker, but you're playing poker against your opponent, but they know all your cards and you know none of theirs. So PvP just set up and put in a position where they can absolutely dominate in the coming exchanges, but Bombers now grouping, now ready, it looks like, to contest this Cloud Drake, or at least to try and find a pick here.
Yeah, they would have loved that to be a more meaningful Dragon, I think, just to try and bring all of Phong Vu into the area. Is going to be Tank Poppy coming out, and you can see they are pretty much ready to fight. I mean, they would love some more items onto Ryoma, I'm sure, but unfortunately, when you've just been dominated in the laning phase like this, it's not really an option.
Mimic, though, going to be caught out here between three members. PvP not going to extend anymore, though. Don't want to burn any of their damage on a tank. Bombers don't have the same reservations. They will start to focus down Pallet. Galio ulti available. They're just going to burn him down. PvP just backing off in that fight, knowing they don't have the man advantage, but Pallet definitely caught out there.
Well, Zeros was like, what are we doing? It's an air Drake. Why are we grouping up to try and contest this? You know, top lane turret right now is going to be free. Just let me take it. Take topside jungle. Continue to exert, you know, that pressure that we already have. I think that was a big mistake from Pallet to give up the free kill. Not going to cost them all that much ultimately because they still will get the top side of the jungle as well as top lane turret. But, you know, bottom lane falls down here. At least it is a trade for the Bombers where one probably shouldn't be available apart from the air Drake.
Cool. Talk about trades and PvP looking to get a bigger advantage here. They're ready to take out Ryoma, but they're backing off. I feel like PvP know they have the advantage and they're not looking to overextend. They're not looking to do anything that could shift the game back in the favor of the Bombers. And still, the bot lane tower remains up. This massive lead for the Boris is not amounting to much at this point.
Once again, look how far forward FBI wants to play, but look who's here again, Meliodas. And kind of the very impressive thing is he's up in experience by 2 levels. He's got 9 out of 10 kill participation. And then he's still up 35 CS at this stage of the game. Kind of has done everything correctly here for Phong Vũ.
FBI gonna have to back off here. He has to step forward to take the Lantern. Will manage to make it out just barely, though. FBI now firing back despite the low bar. Knows there's no cooldowns there. Has to flash back, but the Ezreal ult gonna take him out. Now the fight's gonna get extended. Mimic looking to get it kicked off. Pal gonna flash in for the taunt. Now it's the time for Balkan to try and turn, but the stats are just too much for him. He jumps into the middle of the team and just gets bitten apart.
One by one, the Bombers march in and they all die. Continuing aggression here from Phong Vũ. Watch Zeros on the backside.
Now trying to find the engaged. Pal stepping forward, looking for the taunt. Ryoma gonna have to back off here. A lot of immediate damage. Leaping forward in the hammer form just gets knocked right back out. Sleepy Thresh gonna come forward. Here's the Paddle Star. No. It's too much. 9K gold lead. You can hear Vietnamese fans just going off. This is exactly the start of the tournament that Phong Vũ Buffalo wanted on home soil. Dominating in game 1.
What a way to open up MSI for the VCS and Phong Vũ in particular. This is a region that I was so excited about. Take another look at this. FBI and Rogue, they're trying to play on the edge of that danger zone. They're trying to create some form of pressure, you know, swing this game around. In fact, unfortunately, flashing into an Ezreal not going to help. Mimic flashes in whilst he's asleep. And Balkan, let's not just talk about the rest. The rest of it starts getting a little bit ugly. So the VCS as a whole, right? I was so excited about coming into this because not only is it a tournament on their home soil, we have a major region potentially starting to fall down a little bit in the elements. And I was watching the finals and I was watching Evos play against this Phong Vũ Buffalo team and I was like, this is a great game. Like when I turn off nameplate, this could be a major region. I think Vietnam is ready to take that next step. And, you know, the fact that they come in, you know, there's a couple of shaky moments early, but now they're 10,000 gold up with a 14 kill participation jungler, 4-0-1-10 at only 20 minutes into the game is so impressive.
Dead? Oh, not dead. That's the answer there, Spawn.
That was a real flash as well.
Taking out Balkan, Mimic trying to find a pick here onto the Ezreal. Galio now going to come in. The action not going to stop. PvP looking to continuously extend the lead. Beautiful use of the Unstoppable there to stop the Poppy ult from going through. Mimic now needs to run for his life. Big Coral coming in, wants to throw down a bit of damage on the backside. Meliodas can't go for it. Does he want to extend the play? Looks like they are just going to back off. Multiple members now coming topside. Now going to step forward, going to look for the trouble bubble. That is going to be a sleepy hacker, and they're going to be able to pick him off instantly. The hook does manage to land, but it's too little too late. Mimic just barely alive, but no, the Zoe leaps forward, gets more sparkles, laid down. Null dominating. This is an absolute slaughter in the exchange. Yes, kills are getting traded back, but it is still so incredibly Phong Vũ Buffalo favored.
He has 16 stacks on a Magi. He is 607, 60 CS up, the mid laner for Phong Vũ. And remember who we thought, you know, very consistent, a good linchpin for the team, has really been used as a pivot to just unlock multiple areas of this map, performing so well.
This guy was a Lysandra player.
Yep.
Now we see that, Lysandra was the choice for the team. Maybe not the choice for the player, because the Zoe has been fantastic thus far. And you can see Bombers continuing on this trend, trying to make something happen, trying to get something back, and I respect it, but Meliodas just outplaying there with a fantastic use of the Cataclysm.
Yeah, it certainly was. As soon as he was allowed into the fight, you could just see how tanky he is, and inside track everywhere. Pink ward's already set up in topside jungle. Really, Phong Vũ have complete runs of everything. You can still see there's some damage there from FBI, but Ryoma kind of not doing all this much at this stage of the game, and unfortunately, when you look across the board, apart from the 80 carry position, just not small leads, massive leads for every other member of the Buffaloes.
This is a point in the game where you have a 10K gold lead, you have a Mountain Drake. It feels like You're not taking Baron because there's maybe some small risk of it getting stolen, and you know you don't need it to end the game. And with picks like this coming out, immediately Thresh is going to get deleted. That may open up the Baron. Big Koro going to grab the kill with the ulti there. However, this is kind of the fear of playing against a team with this kind of lead, is that getting into your own jungle and placing any kind of vision could just be a death sentence.
Well, you kind of have to follow the step-by-step process, right? You have to be able to push out a lane, unfortunately teleport down, so Mimic can't go bottom and try and generate any pressure there. Okay, are they showing on side lanes? Well, sure, one person showed, but 2 people is more than enough to take down Rogue at this stage of the game, and you can just see, even though Bomber's trying to play, you know, as safely as possible, when you're this far behind, you got to start taking some form of risk, Strakos, and pulling the trigger on a mid-game team fight against a poke comp, it's just so incredibly difficult to go for. That's why I said, you know, creativity needs to come out a little bit earlier, but unfortunately, they've just been stifling.
No, it is still going to get hooked up. Now going to have a lot of chances there. Meliodas set to fall, will get taken down. Big shutdown going to the pockets of FBI. That's going to be critical, but now they have to defend the mid lane. Zero's backing off. Realma going to take a lot of damage in the exchange. Power shock blast as well. Ezreal ulti. Oh, God! Every time you take an inch, they take a mile. Spawn.
You just see they have the answer every single time Bombers ask the question, okay, we got to pick, we're going to start posturing for a fight. Like 3 champions of just significant poke damage coming out. Ryoma, you know, 60 CS and 1-4. This is a guy that they saved counter pick until last pick on red side as well. Having a shocker entrance into MSI and top side of the map, which was the Bombers' strength. The entirety of the OPL has proven right now to be a liability in game number 1. Obviously have to track whether it's just the first game, you know, land jitters. Volkan is a rookie, but certainly not promising signs for the Bombers. And, you know, on the flip side, you know, I can do nothing but sing the praises of every member of Phong Vũ at the moment. Potentially bottom lane, not the case.
You have to give a little bit of credit to Rogue, though. These lanterns have saved many a life this game, but sadly that is one of the only silver linings on an otherwise very dark cloud.
When the map is dark and you're a Thresh going on one-man expeditions, you die a couple of times, Strakos. Unfortunately, that's just the case. When you get a camp of a mid-jungle as hard as FBI and Rogue did, the fact that, you know, they come out with any form of advantages, I think is a pretty big deal. But at the same time, well, the Buffalo lineup hasn't really looked pushed at any stage of this game. You know, every turret is still up. They lost an air Drake, but it was a choice that they made to trade topside. Really seems that they have dictated like most areas of this game, and you know, the control aspect is what is impressive about this lineup. Once again, they're quick, sure, 27 kills in only a 25-minute game, but they haven't really done anything all that cheesy to me. It's just been very good, quick decision-making time and time again.
And the way they've been using pressure in their lanes thus far was fantastic. Built so many of those leads. Meliodas, once again, 4 of 1 of 14. Only missed out on a single kill. Otherwise, has been a part of everything that has happened on this map. We had high expectations for him coming to the group, but even higher expectations for Zeros. But this has been the game of Meliodas, the chance for him to show off on this international stage.
And you know who's sitting backstage, just, you know, rubbing his hands together as Incuray, you know, big Karthus, big Kindred player, would be looking at some of this early game thinking, do I have to change up everything? How do I keep my lane safe as I play for my farm? FBI now in big trouble.
A lot of damage. Once again, Lantern. Ezreal ulti not going to connect this time around. FBI will heal up nice and quick on that wave. Will not be enough if they find another one. Balkan on the flank. This is the creativity you talked about, Spawn. Maybe I can find a single pick-off here, but no, there's the trinket.
Yeah, and step by step, they're just following the playbook. Okay, now we finally got them all showing in lanes. We know that they don't have any topside jungle control. Let's 2-man Baron. Let's keep them out with the other members of the comp. And unless this Hecarim can get in, it's going to be very difficult to steal.
Can't walk through that path there. Trouble Bubble just remains on the ground. Will now start to speed in, trying to take out the Zoe, but it's picked up the Trouble Bubble right as it falls out. Balkan just deleted instantly. Big fumble there. Now the Baron's going to go over. No chance to steal it. Thought the Sleepy Trouble Bubble was gone, but it was lingering there just long enough to take him out.
And you can see that, you know, the setup is good from Phong Vũ. They've got complete control of topside jungle. They send 2 members to go find the jungler of the Bombers. They just don't let him in. You can see, you know, Pallet and Null corralling the lineup. If anyone else gets close, that's fine. You just cannot allow Balkan into the pit. They're able to take him down, ult into a wall. A little bit unfortunate there. And Meliodas and Zeros pick up the Baron buff. That means now they've got a poke comp with Baron buff and about a 14,000 gold lead.
And you can see disappointment on the face of Balkan. He knows it was a mistake. And of course the game You can't say it's already lost, but when
you shouldn't be disappointed at this stage. You should be disappointed about what happened 15 minutes ago. Now even Mimic, the tankiest member, starting to really feel the poke coming out of Null. 20 stacks on that Magi. Imagine starting MSI 2019 with a 25 stack, unkillable Zoe performance where you just had full access to the river. You're able to rotate everywhere in this game if you're the Buffalo's mid laner.
And a lot of teams are going to have to reevaluate their read on the Phong Vũ Buffalos. You know, what we saw in the finals, what we saw in their season was a lot of utility in the mid lane, a lot more carry, a lot more focus on the top side. But this game, the Zoe, benefiting so much from Meliodas' early pathing. Null is absolutely taking over, proving he deserves to be in that discussion. Jarvan now leaping forward. That's going to be a beautiful wombo combo. Rogue in trouble, cannot save himself with the lantern. Zero's going to grab one kill. This should just be it. Pallet taking him down. Now there's going to be one more kill going over to Zoe. Ezreal leaping in, trying to shred through Mimic, with Mimic running for his life. May just buy a little bit of time. Baron recall coming in from the Jace because he can TP right back. Ooh, not quite able to land the Mystic shot, but Spawn, this should just be it. Double cannon minions, all of Phong Vũ Buffalo moving forward. The Bombers 17k down in this game. Phong Vũ Buffalo on the road to finding their first win here. A last desperate stand as FBI steps forward, but the last tower remaining. They may just focus the champions if they want to go even harder and taking down the Bombers, but the Nexus now set to fall, and Phong Vũ Buffalo going to make an incredibly strong statement in their first win.
And they did it, playing very exciting League of Legends Dracos. That's what I like about this lineup. You know, double Scuttle Crab, early ganks coming out of Meliodas, and then just heavy trading in all lanes, creating that volatility that they like, so their jungler, who is much more experienced in these situations, is able to take over the map. You can see Volkan, he